host will be Grim Legends. It's based in the sense of create a duplicate, or his code name in the Apex games is Octane. The Speedo, right? We'll be talking about some of the Apex lore, and we'll be talking about how it kind of relates to us in real life. Relatable, that this game is very relatable to us. So, yeah. I'll do my best to try to get it under 30 minutes.
Why don't you try to talk about the most relatable legend, Mirage?
And Mirage's story starts out, he was born in a family of 5. Him and his 2 brothers, and his mother and his dad. It was kind of like his life was going uphill. He was kind of growing up, having brothers. It kind of went downhill when there was a war and his brothers were sent in and his brothers died in the war. Shortly after his father died and he was left with his mother. And so he had to pay bills for the hospital and stuff, so he decided to make Paradise Lounge. It wasn't making enough money as he needed to, so he decided to join the Apex games for some extra cash. He's very witty, funny, and charming. It's like I said, to hide a Mirage/decoy version of himself, because deep down he's just kind of sad, and he tries to stay cheerful, but it's just not how it's going in his favor. He almost lost his bar, and his mother doesn't remember him anymore. Oh, and I said I wasn't lagging. Oh, is it me or are these enemies lagging? Oh, as well. Okay. But, I'll continue saying what I was saying. So Mirage has a really bad past. These decoys that he can create of his exact self, he uses it as his brother replacement. He makes those decoys, and he'll say that they're his brothers. His 2 dead brothers are dead in the war, because he loves his family so much. He constantly visits the hospital whenever he can to see his mom, or call the hospital to see his mom. So it's kind of like, so he tries to support the family. He doesn't like to ask for help. He's not the one that wants to ask for help, even though he does need help. Some people have to go through that, where they have to kind of like take on jobs and roles in life where they're not really supposed to at that age, but since life's not really fair, they kind of have to. They have to go through all the pain and suffering. Next character we'll be talking about is Octane.
There's one thing that every child needs, and that's a little bit of fun, and that's basically Octane. His story, he came from a rich family, and his family owns a drugstore, like a Walmart, and, well, they're super rich, and one day, well, he's just really bored. That's really his entire story. He's just bored. His entire thing is just boredom. But then he found out about racing. And that's when he tried to do a race. And when he was doing that race, he saw something on TV about a video game. And he didn't realize that it was a video game. It was virtual reality. And in the game, the person launched themselves to the finish line by using a grenade. And while he was racing, he tried to do that, and he ended up blowing up his legs.
My buddies and I aren't afraid of heights.
But he won the race.
Now he has robotic legs. Yeah, he still won the race. But now he has robotic legs.
If you did not hear what Grimlock said because of sometimes PS4 doesn't capture it. Basically, what he said is Octane's from a rich past. His family kind of had like a bunch of like drugs and stuff, and so he was out of boredom. He decided to mix the drugs to see what happened because, you know, we're all bored at some point. So he decided to make it, and so he's a streamer as well, and so he loves to have fun and stuff. So he decided that he's going to look for something dangerous and risky. So he went for races, and so one of the races ended up in his favor of him losing legs because he decided to recreate something he saw in virtual reality, which was putting, but he made it to the finish line. We'll be talking about the Lifeline a little bit, but she relates to his story because Lifeline and Octane are old-time friends, as they've known each other since they were little. And so Lifeline is a caretaker, and she wants to do what's best for everybody. But she can know when she's being used and stuff, and so Octane blew off his legs, and he went to Lifeline because Lifeline was providing those legs, and she was like, "Can you move me up the list so I can get prosthetic legs? Can you please?" And so at the time, Lifeline had feelings for him, and it wasn't the best thing to do, but necessarily, it wasn't the worst thing to do.
Because now they both joined the Apex games.
Now they both joined the Apex games. And so Octane just throws down a jump pad, and then he can basically run/walk faster, but as a result, he loses some health.
What are we talking about?
Bam! There goes a booze old third. Something like that.
Alright, so we'll be talking about Lifeline next, as just said. So Lifeline, she's not very proud of her past. Some people know it. Everyone in the Apex games, or who plays in the Apex games, or as we consider them, the Apex champions, they know the past and stuff of people.
I'm so sorry to make you wait.
And so Lifeline's past was just her parents were basically war criminals from the war that Mirage's brothers died in. And so she does not like talking about that at all because, you know, no one would. So.
Oh, and all of this connects to Titanfall 2.
Ring's close. One more minute.
Yeah. Anyways, she does not like her parents as much, but she's playing the Apex games so she can pay off their war crimes.
45 seconds.
Because they're still technically in jail, but, you know. And, since her parents killed so many people during the war, she decided to take an oath and try to be like a healer and stuff. So that's why she kind of works with the prosthetic legs with Octane and stuff. She basically tries to heal and tries to make up for what her parents did. It's like, I guess you could say this relates to it, but I would say it relates to it. It's like being like a murderer's son or somebody, and everyone judges you because you're a murderer's son. They'll only look at you as a murderer's son. So she doesn't want everyone to look at her as a murderer's son. She wants everyone to look at her as a healer, somebody else, not just her parents. Alright. So, Gibraltar. Alright. Gibraltar was pretty normal. He'd like to have fun here and there, but he was a pretty normal kid, you could say. He's pretty big. We'll go into the characters and we'll see all of them, but he's pretty big, and so one day he figured out he was gay. Before the Apex games, him and his boyfriend were on Gibraltar's dad's bicycle, and they got into an accident with a horrible mudslide, and so they safely got out. But his dad, Gibraltar's dad, lost his arm in the process of saving them a bit more. So when we go to him, we'll see his abilities and we'll see everything. But he's more of like just a big protector. As you can say, like Lifeline, but he wants to protect people. He wants them to have like a future. Because he almost didn't have a future, but his dad helped him get his future back. So he's got very supportive parents.
Oh, And his boyfriend died in the crash.
His boyfriend is actually alive. So.
Oh, what? I thought
Yeah, no. His yeah, it's actually where his dad lost his arm in the crash, so it's not him dying. Luckily, we will be going on to Bloodhound. It's Bloodhound. When we go to see Bloodhound, it's she, not a he. So this map, as you can see, it wasn't always this way. It was more of like a. It used to be just roaming in the forest and stuff, but the Apex games converted it into what it is now. And so Bloodhound lived here before they converted it. And so it used to be a thriving city and everything. And then there was this frozen blast that kind of, if you got like hit by this frozen blast, you would actually just be frozen and you would die instantly. There was no way you could unfreeze or get out of it. It was just death. So his parents, Bloodhound's parents sacrificed themselves so that he wouldn't get hit in the blast. His uncle took him in, and his uncle got taken in by a tribe that was there, and the tribe doesn't like them having like technology or advanced technology, as they would say. So they would go and use primal hunting, and so they worship the god called Allfather. Allfather? Yeah, Allfather. I don't want to say it wrong. So they worship a god. So they sacrifice for the Allfather, and so it's more of like a. It's more of like a. Not like a cult at all. It's like a religion. It's their religion since, you know.
I'm so sorry to make you wait. I have to beat you much faster.
As well, Bloodhound was searching and exploring, and she found some technology laying on the floor that was from the frozen blast event, and so she decided to pick it up and use it.
I'm down.
And she tried to kill an animal that she needs to kill this animal to be accepted more into the group, and so she used the gun to try to kill it, and it failed, and it came back to camp, and it killed out Arthur, which was her uncle, and so
let's not talk about this.
She kind of like lost a part of herself in there, and so she decided to. His soul made him turn into a raven that we will see what Bloodhound has. Bloodhound always has this raven on his shoulder, which he calls Arthur because of his uncle. Her uncle, I mean. She always wears a mask because she always wears like this little mask on the bottom to breathe because she got to a point where it was so cold, like she couldn't breathe without it, and it was like gonna like kill her on the inside. And she killed the animal using one of the advanced technologies, or the technology that's in my hand, you could say. And yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, pretty sure that's it for Bloodhound. Should we talk about? We'll talk about Pathfinder. Pathfinder is a mysterious robot that was created. So there's robots that's Revenant Death Totem. There's robots here that come and work, and like, you know, they don't have like control over themselves. They just work because they're told to, like Wally and stuff like that. Just imagine more of like a Wally thing. So somebody made Pathfinder to where he has a grapple. Yeah, somebody made to where Pathfinder has a grapple, and he's more advanced.
So we can understand him.
I guess yeah, he's just a bit more advanced. So. he's a bit more advanced than any of the other of the robots. Oh, Bloodhound, Bloodhound coming. Bloodhound. There we go. So he's a bit more advanced than the other robots, and so somebody made him like that, and so he's been searching for his creators, and so he's been working jobs because you know he's a robot and he needs to live somewhere, and he knows that. He's very smart. He's got his own intelligence. He can hack into like beacons and like he was made for like a rushing robot. He was made out of a planet like the robots that used to work there, but his programming was made for more of like a soldier robot.
It's more of a protector robot, because he only cares about protecting.
That's true. But he goes on a search for his creator, that whoever found him, and he stumbles into a Paradise Lounge, which is Elliot with, or codename Mirage's bar. And so he's talking to Mirage, and he's like, I'm trying to look for my creator and stuff like that. And so he's like, I've been looking, I've been doing everything. And so Mirage says, why don't you join the Apex Games? That'd be a great way. A bunch of people are watching it, and everyone would see it. Maybe your creator would see it too. He's like, that's a smart idea. I'll join it. Thank you. And it's more of like an invitation for being like special. Because
special needs.
Not special needs. No. Like they're just more advanced fighters that got a second chance.
Yeah.
And he's okay.
Target's right in front of me.
Mirage needs to find a way to get himself out of his fake world that he created. Octane needs to figure out how to not be bored. He already figured that out.
Not to use drugs in it. Over there.
Got one spotted.
But what is it? So I think we'll talk about Wraith next. Unless that's not all about, unless we didn't finish Pathfinder. I'm pretty sure we just finished Pathfinder's lore. That's kind of Pathfinder's lore. It's very short and small, it's simple. He's just like a very tall robot. He's a friendlier robot. There's another robot that we'll meet, but he's technically not a robot. Technically he is a robot. We'll get more depth into that. And so Pathfinder sees everyone as their friend, like he said. Pathfinder is more gentle and a little bit more like woohoo and just more funnier. He's just a bit more happy and cheerful. His creator made that way. Him that way, and he can be that way as well. We'll talk about Ray.
Ray is pretty short.
She basically she escaped from like a psych asylum or asylum. She was treated because she could hear voices in her head, and so she basically has the ability to go into a place where she can see different versions of herself, and they will do different versions. It's like different versions. It's like seeing like a time machine, basically, with all the versions and possibilities that are happening in front of you. What it is, first she kind of goes back in to save herself in another timeline, and that's this timeline where she saves herself. And so she escapes it. And so she decides that it's because it's in Apex Legends, where the Psych Warden is at, in the Apex games, so she decides to stay there, undercover. She's pretty smart. Also, she's very tough. She's not necessarily insecure at all. She's more of a tough girl, and she's just... I know how to say it. What was I saying? Wraith's just different in a way where she doesn't really need to rely on anybody, but she will make friends. she likes to have family because she technically didn't have a family.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. We wiped the whole squad.
2 squads away from it.
She's really like a bipolar person. Sometimes she can be happy, and
Sometimes she can be happy, and then she's just... That's true. So her voices, which are her, can give her warnings and just like stuff about what could happen or what's gonna happen. So they're basically just different.
Since the game still has a couple bugs, it doesn't. It takes a little time for her to warn, and she might already.
Tick-tock, 10 seconds. At least the ring's close.
It's a game.
It's pretty simple. She's just very tough and doesn't care really.
Getting shot at. Reloading. Enemy killed. Evo shield here. Level 3.
Nice kill, compadre.
Let's start trying to focus on that.
We can focus and talk. I can. Behind this is the squad, I think.
We only have 1 squad left. Give him my shield to recharge.
Oh no, remember that one game?
Oh no, we're champion. Alright. Champion means we won the game, and that's what does this fanfare music you can hear. And then you can do
Free tip, just try a little bit harder.
like voice chats and stuff, and then you do this. You are the Apex champion. Alright. So we're gonna go into the lobby and see where our character's at. These are just the poses and stuff. So I'm gonna show you the characters that we were just talking about. These are some of the skins. Some people like them. I like them. This was just the event that just happened. Alright, so we talked about Bloodhound. Let's go to the original Bloodhound. This is what Bloodhound originally looks like. She wears that mask to keep her from like breathing in like cold air, so she can actually breathe in. That's Arthur right there. Arthur is the bird. Gibraltar is right here. Gibraltar, let's put the original skin on for Gibraltar. That's what he looks like.
Why don't we go into firing range and show them all the character abilities?
Alright. And then we got Lifeline right here. She has her dock to heal people and to like make sure that they don't die. This is Pathfinder. He's more cheery, uptight beat robot. He's blue. He's got zip lines. He's just this is Wraith. She's a bit more like she has family in the Apex games and the Apex Legends, but it's like a select family. We're gonna talk about Bangalore and Caustic next. We'll show you the real Octane right here. This is Octane. As you can see right there, that's a little GoPro right there. His prosthetic legs are right there. This is for his stims that he can use that make him run faster. We'll talk about Watson, Crypto, Revenant, Loba, and Rampart next. So Bangalore, Caustic, Watson, and Crypto. Alright. But I personally kind of relate more to Mirage. I really don't know how to say it, but I just kind of have a feeling that I relate more to Mirage. Alright, so we're gonna next talk about Bangalore. Bangalore is legit just... Bangalore is was a army person. So she's a professional soldier that knows everything, she knows everything about guns and stuff. She'll tell you like the backstory behind this gun when she used it. The only really troubling thing about her past is that she lost her brother, and she played it off where he didn't die. She says that he didn't die, but he died, and she can't really deal with her feelings that way. So she kind of plays the Apex games to try to avoid her feelings. She can also throw an airstrike, she can throw a smoke screen, and she runs faster when being shot at. We'll head over to Caustic right now. Caustic is actually what people theorize. He is actually Alex Norton, which was a guy that committed a lot of murders with his ability right here. He committed murders with his by experimenting and seeing what chemicals would mix. He has gas traps, and those release like really bad chemicals that can kill people. And so he got into a bunch of like trouble, and so he faked his own death. And so he plays in the Apex games as a way to get out. And his mom is currently still alive. People say that his mom is actually Crypto's adopted parent. He throws his gas trap. He's more of a scientist, as the way he says. He can see everything, he moves. So that. I think deploying a variable. He says he's more of a scientist, but he doesn't know the boundaries. And he always wants to push the boundaries of when he shouldn't. Alright, we're going to be talking about Watson. Watson was born, and so she was born without a mother because her mother died from somebody, and she only had a dad her whole entire life. She didn't have any mother figures, and so she kind of was just like there with her dad. So she has a bunch of like dad jokes because that's the only jokes she has. She and her dad actually created like the Storm/Ring, the orange yellow thing that we saw last game. That her and her dad created it, but what happened was that her dad died before they could announce it.
When someone passes by her traps, they take damage and they get slowed.
They take damage and they get slowed. But her dad actually died before they could announce the ring icon, so she had to go by herself. She had to go by herself and actually do it. She also revives by doing like what is it in hospitals where you do like where you rub two things together like electric shocking. You electric shock people alive. Yeah, and so she basically has electric fences that her and her dad made, and so she's more of a. She also has the ultimate where it heals people. Caustic basically throws an ultimate orb, or as we like to say, a more bigger gas trap, which is a controlled gas trap. So next we're going to talk about is Crypto. Crypto is a runaway. He's actually on the run. He worked for Apex Games. He's one of the employees, and him and his sister decided that they wanted to see if they could hack into Apex Games to see who would have a chance of winning. So they tried it. To where they hacked into it. They found the probabilities and stuff, and so necessarily they got caught by Hammond Robotics, and so they had to run away. And Crypto's sister was caught to stun everybody and destroy their shields and slow them down, so they can mark and the enemies. You can see it through walls and stuff.
Use it on me.
I don't have an EMP. All right. Anyway, next character we're gonna get to this background is Revenant.
Come over to the
Revenant is, I'll explain it more. His backstory right now is Revenant was a human being, and so he lived out his normal life. He was an assassin actually that worked for Hammond Robotics, cleaned up any of the messes that they didn't want to clean up. So it got to a point where Hammond Robotics needed him really badly, so they made it to where they kept his brain alive and they made a robot version of himself. And so they tricked him into thinking that he's been living this long and staying in like the same age, and he's just been assassinating people. And then he figured it out, and so he kind of wants to not live anymore. He's not the fan of living. He doesn't really like anybody at all. He hates them.
Alright, wait.
He actually killed Loba's parents. Loba is one of the champions that we're gonna talk about, but he killed Loba's parents. And so Loba kind of tries to avenge her parents, and he kind of wants to kill himself and find his brain that's keeping him alive. So Revenant has his ultimate ability where he can enter death protection. He puts it into a shadow form. If I die in this right here, I get to teleport back to this totem. He also has the ability that can silence other people from using their abilities. If an Octane wanted to stim and get away, or if Wraith wanted to go away, then they can't anymore. Spawn back at the totem. Once you've entered into the totem, you cannot go back into the totem. So yeah, we're talking about Loba next. So Loba's backstory was really Revenant killed her parents, and so she's been going through like adoptions, like because nobody really wanted her because she stole and stuff. She stole this ring right here that we have right here that teleports. She stole it from her first foster parents.
Don't drive out.
She stole it from first foster parents that worked at Hammond Robotics, and she went to adoption. And so at one point she decided to just when she reached 18, just become a professional thief. And so she did. She was the best thief in the world, and then she decided to work along with somebody. And this somebody revealed that Revenant actually joined the Apex Games. And so she went in there, trying to destroy Revenant. And she kind of destroyed a bunch of Revenants. Or different Revenants. So it was just like different versions of Revenant that were going to be active.
Throwing jump drive.
So she kind of only wanted to avenge her parents for dying, and so that's legit it. That's what her goal is, and she was kind of astonished by Revenant saying that he wants to not live anymore because he stayed alive for 300 years and he shouldn't have. So she's caught off guard and she kind of doesn't know what to do. Her ultimate ability is to get any loot that she wants in a certain radius. It'll be teleported to her.
They're shooting at me.
And so I can get anything here. I can get any of these right here.
Helmet here. Level 4. Only the best
Get
for
this.
my friends.
And then she can dismantle it. And her teammates can use it. Alright. Next
We all need a bathroom
is the newest character, Rampart.
Enemy black market here.
I don't know really what to say about Rampart. I haven't really studied her past as much. But she was mainly like, as you can say, a what is it? I'm trying to think of it. She sold guns. She was, if I remember correctly, an illegal gun seller. And she had underground like fight clubs that had guns and stuff. She also made her own mods and modifications. Everyone knew her by Rampart mods. And so somebody assigned a contract to one of the assassins, and they tried to destroy her shop. They actually did successfully destroy her shop. One of the assassins was Blisk, the co-founder of Apex Games. So he decided to give her another chance because she put up a very, amazing fight. And so she decided to join the Apex Games as a way to of redemption. So one of her abilities is having up a wall. A wall that can be shot through this way. And then if people try to shoot it, it takes the damage. She also cares deeply about her gun, Sheila. She named it Sheila. I do not know the reason why she named it Sheila. but she just named it Sheila, so it's kind of a bit. It's just a minigun that she can spray and pray. Yeah. She makes a bunch of jokes. I don't know if it's related to anything that.
Hello,
If she's
Sheila.
not happy,
Oh,
she's pretty
seen a
like
girl like
fun
you.
and happy.
Enemy taken down.
She can zoom in. This is Sheila right here. So,
Let me cover.
yeah.
Bro.
And then
so
she's
fucking
reloading. And if you can see with it, that's a little picture of the Rampart blowing bubblegum. She likes bubblegum. So yeah, so Sheila's kind of her person.
I'm cover for you,
She will
mates.
talk to like Sheila and just like rely heavily on Sheila because she trusts in Sheila. So all these Apex Legends like kind of relate to different people. You could say not all of them relate to one person. Personally, to me, I relate more to Mirage than
Of
anything
course
else.
you did.
Some people can relate to Lifeline as being like somebody's son and this one and this
Go over there.
one. And so
Actually, no, go right there.
Bangalore. Okay. Alright, so we did all the legends. So I think that's
Shots fired.
all
and
for
they're hitting me.
today. Thank you for watching this and hope you enjoyed. My my